Hey there guys, welcome back. Now this is part 3 of painting the skin tone and suit. Now what I first did in order to start the base coat, I did a very pasty yellow kind of look, almost like natural teeth. So I started that as my base after I had already primed it and hit it with a dull coating of that testers that I'll soon show. I originally wanted this series to be a 3-part series, however, being that this build is taking a lot of my time, I decided to chop this one gigantic video into 2 parts, so it'll be this part and then there's one more after this. So keeping up with my skin tone technique, I'm using a Badger 105 Patriot. I've always used this, and I'm sorry for the shaky camera. I have a strong fan blowing in the back, and yeah, just disregard it for the moment. It'll soon go away and everything will be stabilized in just a moment. There is no real technique I like to do on the base. Since this character is known to be very ghostly Caucasian kind of skin tone, I started off with this yellow and then I'll eventually dull it down and kind of layer everything. So I just want to make it a good even coat across the board before I start piling on the paint. And soon I'll show you the can I use just to seal everything. It's a Testors dull coat. As far as I've ever had a history of purchasing it, it's always come in that tiny little can. That thing works amazingly. It beats out every matte finish I've ever used. Now the next technique right here that I'm using is getting just basic acrylic red and watering it down. And you might have seen another YouTuber that customizes statues and does paint jobs by the name of Rafael Roberto Jr. I've borrowed this technique from him, and so far it's done wonderfully. So when it comes to layering, I definitely got to give big thanks to him. And then once I have done and gone on through reds, purples, greens, browns, whites, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Once you get all those layers down, you can further on just tone them down with another lighter layer of skin tone. What I like to do is seal my speckles every 2 colors, so you might see me dull coat it. I lost the footage in which I was showcasing every color I was using, but to back it up, there's a picture showcasing all the speckles once they're all down and sealed in there. Now that I've gotten every single color down, I go ahead and seal it one more time with the Duster's dull coat. And here is the picture to showcase all the all the colors involved. I did add some blush using a technique I kind of do off camera. And then here's some more blush, some red spots just to bring out the highlights, and I painted the lips. Now I'm toning everything down with a really pasty, like I just got skin tone and I really kind of drowned it down with white. So I mean, fortunately I can't reference any bottle you can pick up off store shelves or purchase anything through Amazon. I just mix my own paints mainly, and as you can see, it's dialing it down to a nice fair skin tone, but at the same time the blush and some of the characteristics that I had laid down previously do show through, and that's what I absolutely want. That's the thing about painting, you always just want to consistently layer new colors on top of new colors to show depth and realism. Because when you look up closely in a mirror, you look at your cheek, you see a lot of colors kind of spattered about. Nothing is just one solid color, unless you're trying to go for a cartoon look. Me painting this extra layer of very fair skin tone, it's not to drown out all the work I've done underneath. It can't be perfect. I mean, I don't try to be perfect with layering it down. I mean, skin isn't perfect, so once I get a good enough coat on to the work I've already done, I like to move forward with a lot of paintbrush work. It's the way I work, it's basically 90% brush work, 10% airbrush work. So once you see me done with this airbrush, I do a lot of painting off camera, and the reason why I don't film that is because it's under really bad lighting conditions, so I can't really display the true tones of what it looks like. So instead, to back up and show you what I do, I have photos and comparisons of what it used to be. Now I just got done, now I'm sealing it with the Duster's dull coat, and yeah, so you get a pretty good idea of how it looks like, and then it looks flat, so I'll be adding way more depth to it. And here's a picture of what he looks like with all the colors on and kind of toned down. And here's some paintbrush work, added depth, and the wrinkles, the eyes, the lips. I try to bring those out subtly without kind of getting them lost. And I covered the eyes, of course, because it's a lot of sealing what I do. Here's a little bit of a reveal about what the eyes look like within the flesh. And now that everything is done, I mask everything off with some silly putty, some masking tape, and I've used this Rust-Oleum yellow. It's the same yellow that I used on my reverse flash helmet, and I really liked it because it was a really true yellow. And I'm using a rattle can because you can get a really good spread, and it's very thick. If you were doing this with an airbrush on a life-size bust, this would take you a very long time, so I'm looking for a very solid yellow and making sure I get a lot of coverage. So I do a good one run, and then if I see, I let it dry, and if I see that there's some white spots, then I go over it again. And I'm not gonna bore you with how many layers I've added. I've probably added about 2, maybe not 2, like 3.5. Just making sure that this yellow covers everything and that it's completely solid. And then I went ahead and matted it down with a Duster's dull coat. Now I'm just about done with painting the yellow. There will be a part 4, inadvertently, where I'll be chroming out the symbol and chroming out the ears to make them a candy red. And here's a picture of showcasing what the skin tone looks like on that solid yellow suit. You can go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and maybe have subscribed if you liked it. I will be providing more custom paint jobs further on down the way. And you can follow me on Instagram at dweeb_creations to see way more behind the scenes stuff of what I'm working on.